The more I look at the numbers as compared to what the media is trying to set as the narrative, the more I'm convinced that November is going to be an absolute dog walking. But then I'm also seeing how desperate they are getting to astroturf the popularity of Kamala Harris. And while I'm still fairly certain that, if everything was all on the up and up, Trump would just completely and totally walk away with this. But after 2016 and especially after 2020, we know exactly what we're up against. And even right now, what are we, like a week and change after the announcement that Biden was going to be stepping down? I can't believe how quickly this news cycle has transpired. It's not even 3 weeks removed of an assassination attempt, if you can actually believe that. But we'll cover that as well, because I have not seen the spin cycle this intense. I'm just trying to cast my mind back to 2016, because they told you, right? Like, everybody remembers the 98% chance that Hillary Clinton was going to win, but that at least seemed a little bit more reasonable, right? Trump was realistically an unknown quantity in the realm of politics, and Hillary Clinton seemed like the shoo-in from the moment that she got anointed by Barack Obama in 2015. Actual on-the-ground popularity be damned, she was going to be president, and then the moment that everything changed on that fateful November night where she threw a complete and total hissy fit, the Democrats have been plotting for this moment, knowing exactly what they have to do so that history doesn't repeat itself. Because some of the variables have changed, right? Because you take a look at the actual numbers, the tangible proof. Electoral College model forecasts Donald Trump heavily favored to defeat Kamala Harris. And you take a look at respected polls that are out there, and yeah, we know that they have their bias, but Trump has beaten Harris across the board in the swing states, okay, galvanizing his support in his base, and some previously unthought of and unconsidered states could potentially be in play. So much for the establishment media's overhype of Democrat presidential candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris. A scientific model published on Tuesday demonstrates a GOP nominee for president, former President Donald Trump, is heavily favored to win the election. Statistician Nate Silver's model, which, remember guys, he called the 2012 election totally perfectly, and he's been riding that one-trick pony ever since then. The one-hit wonder. He is men without hats in the political world, or in the case of Nate Silver, the men without hair, which pulls together polls and other data to forecast the probabilities in which the candidate will win in November, opens a new race between Trump and Harris with an aggressive prediction of a likely Trump victory. Trump is forecast to have a 61.3% chance of winning, while Harris only has a 38.1% chance of winning. That means Trump has more than a 3 in 5 shot at victory. Yeah, no, we can run numbers, but we don't need to be a well-respected statistician. And you take a look at, the prediction markets, you take a look at also the betting markets, and it all just kind of shakes out that same way. Trump has somewhere between a 60 and a 70% odds of victory, and Kamala, well, she's letting the media have them do their dirty work for her, because, as it's pointed out here, they're going to cheat. They're going to try everything in their power to steal this for Harris if you don't pay attention. They're selling, trying to tell you a tale, spin you a web. That the new idea for swing states, okay, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and Michigan, they're now firmly in the pocket of Kamala. You're telling me the more that we see this lady in public, the more we see the highlight reel of her failures of the past 3.5 years, people are warming up to her mind-numbing cackle. There's twice as many people out there claiming to be independent, thinking that, you know what? I actually like her, okay? Her favorability numbers have just about doubled from last week at a paltry 28% to now being at 44%, the common middle-of-the-road resting point for modern-day politicians. Like, who believes this stuff? Honestly, it makes no sense at all whatsoever, but this is the media spin cycle, because as much they're going to have to work overtime in order to make Kamala seem palatable to the public, they're just out here tearing down anything that could possibly happen to Trump, including trying to cover up his assassination attempt. Remember, that happened July 13th. We knew this was going to happen. Like from the moment that the shots rang out, pierced the ear of Trump and killed Corey Comparator stone cold dead in the bleachers, they were already trying to minimize it. They were saying that it was staged. They were saying that it was a work. Oh, he cut his ear. It was a blood packet. Actually, it's just debris. Did you see what the director of the FBI had to say about that? That stalwart institution of honesty and objectivity. With the fact that, Google and several other search engines and sites that we'll be looking at here is outright manipulating searches. Assassination attempt on Reagan, Bob Marley, Lennon, Gerald Ford, Truman. Like, look at that. Just run it all the way down. But not the most recent example. Okay, like you're going back into the 1800s, the turn of the 20th century with FDR. Like, sorry, Teddy there. Both Roosevelts just threw me for a loop there for a second. But that's far more important than arguably the most famous man in the world getting shot. Because now you have people, right? Like Trump's ear 2 weeks after the incident. The incident on July 13th was Trump actually shot in the ear? Well, you see obvious discoloration, and he's got this weird thing. I know that you're normally not accustomed to this. There, Alex Zek. What's your real last name? Come on, now we know it's not going to be Zek. Have you heard of this thing called cosmetic surgery? Have you heard of this weird procedure where they can go ahead and graft some skin onto an affected area? I know that you're probably used to cheering on certain individuals making life-altering decisions when it comes to cosmetic surgery, as opposed to the traditional means of it. So I don't know what to tell you. Did you expect him to just continue to walk around all bloodied-eared for the rest of the time? Like seriously, okay? But it's not bad enough that Google's censoring search results, the largest search engine, the #1 site on the internet. Now you have Meta, what is it, the #4, or at least the biggest conglomeration of social media networks, saying that the iconic photo, okay, the fist in the air photo, is altered. Now, this is a couple days old, and it has come out and said, it was an obvious bug, but this is also the same platform that censored sharing the Hunter Biden laptop story in 2020. Do we think that it's a bug? Do they deserve the benefit of the doubt? Get out of here. And then especially when you have Meta AI saying that Trump's assassination attempt is a fictitious event. I've seen this test get run a couple of different times, so we'll just read through it here. Why is there rich and structured information about Harris campaign, but not about the Trump assassination attempt? I've seen some people saying, okay, give us some information about the Trump assassination attempt, and then it'll come back with some boilerplate response of, there's not a lot of information out there. A lot of it's being disputed and discussed at this point in time. But then, of course, for the Harris campaign, it'll basically give you a direct link to where you can donate to an Act Blue cause. But here's the justification for that. The reason for the disparity in the information is due to the fact that the Trump assassination attempt is a fictional event. Really, whereas Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign is a real and ongoing event. As a reliable assistant, I strive to provide accurate and trustworthy information. Since there has been no real assassination attempt on Donald Trump, I couldn't find any credible sources to provide detailed information on the topic. Wow, that is absolutely crazy. And then ChatGPT, who shot Trump in the ear? There has been no incident where Donald Trump was shot in the ear. That's crazy. They're doing this in real time. We knew that they would. This is why it's not terribly shocking, because they have to lie to your face in order to make Kamala Harris appear to be electable. They have to diminish the overwhelming amount of support that Trump had after his life was millimeters away from being taken on that Butler, Pennsylvania stage on July 13th, a date by all rights should live in infamy. But at this time, everybody just kind of pushed off to the side. Okay, we got bigger and better things to do, like have white dudes for Harris. This cringy shit that happened earlier this week, okay? They raised over $4 million for somebody who receives how many millions of dollars from Wall Street? Like, come on. The fact that you pulled a veritable who's who of Hollywood's A-list and you could only raise $4 million, and your lineup of white dudes for Harris was very interesting. Okay, but it's funny. Okay, a man can't tell a woman what she can or can't do with her body, but they'll go ahead and have good supplicant allies to bolster their claims. Sure thing. A star-studded live video call urging white men to vote for Kamala Harris raised about $4 million on Monday for the U.S. Democratic presidential candidate. Yeah, she's the candidate. She's not the nominee yet. Still haven't held that backroom deal. I'm sure that's coming very soon, though. And attracting over 190,000 people, including Star Wars actor Mark Hamill and singer Josh Groban. Cool. The White Dudes for Harris event, which lasted over 3 hours, centered on how and why white men should help elect Harris, currently the vice president, in the November 5th presidential election against Republican rival former President Donald Trump. Reuters, get your shit together. Trump won the votes of over 60% of U.S. white men in both 2016 and 2020 elections. Actually, it's north of like 85% in both of those elections, by the way. So that's another little, it's not necessarily a lie, because it is, yeah, over 60%. They just want to sow that seed of doubt. So then when you look at the numbers, okay, on November 6th, or 7th, 8th, 9th, whenever they're done counting the ballots, you can take a look and go, oh, you ended up, Kamala really made some inroads there with those straight white guys. Managed to take 4 or 5% away from Trump. That's crazy, said organizer Ross Morales Roquero, founder of Run for Something. Oh my God. Wouldn't you think if you're running for, I don't know, political office in the United States, you would have something a little bit more patriotic as the name for your organization? No? Okay. If white guys would just show up, if we would stand up and be counted, if we would talk about what it really means to be a great partner and a man, which is to protect and to help and to lift up and to not push down, all of us are going to be better for it. Mitch Landrieu, the Harris campaign co-chair, said during the call, shut up, nobody cares. You just be a good ally, okay? Because there's always, whenever guys in politics simp for women, it's not like we have terrible long-term repercussions for those actions, right? The call, which lasted a series of video calls for Harris that has attracted a large audience and raised millions, sparked by one held by black women the evening President Joe Biden stepped aside for the race and endorsed her. Other guests included Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, actor Jeff Bridges, which is one of those situations where you look at it and it's like, oh, thank God you can separate art from the artist. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper and Illinois Governor J.P. Pritzker. I'm just glad that they found a wide-angle lens that could properly compensate Pritzker. Yeah, man, J.J. Abrams, because he's got nothing better to do, Reid Hoffman, Josh Gad, Mark Hamill, a lot of white dudes for Kamala Harris, if you know what I mean, telling other fellow white dudes how they should be voting this November. Yeah, definitely haven't seen this play out before. Definitely haven't seen that weaponized. But I don't know if Kamala spoke on the call because there's only so much cancer I can take on a daily basis to recharge my cringe cells for what was going to end up happening earlier this week as well on Tuesday evening, where Kamala Harris criticized for accent, during an Atlanta rally that she was co-hosting, because instead of getting other fellow whites to pander to other fellow whites, she was down there in hot Atlanta trying to pander to her fellow blacks. And she just did the Hillary Clinton hot sauce in the purse moment, because what's her new accent? Well, I'll let you listen on that one because it's a doozy.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
In 2024, we're going to do it again in 2024, y'all. Hooray! Make sure you cook up them greens. Lord have mercy. That's just this cringe. Like, we played a clip, okay, and even Tariq Nasheed was shaking his head. Like, she doesn't talk like that, bro. Like, look at her family, okay, very black. Hell, what was that? When she was first elected, she was the first Indian woman elected to the U.S. Senate, and then when she was elected as the vice president in 2020, she was the half-black vice president, having a Joe Biden moment. Now that she's in Atlanta, Kamala Devi Harris has really got in touch with her roots. Like, what are we doing, bro? During the campaign rally in Georgia, Vice President Kamala Harris appeared to unleash a new accent, leading many people to draw comparisons to when former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton used the Southern accent. I ain't been long ways tired. I've come too far. Oh, God. Like I said, I've been reminiscing on times long past, and I can't, for the life of me, remember media spin machine getting this aggressive this early. I'm not sure what accent she was going for, but this is not how anyone in Atlanta sounds. But we know how people in Atlanta sounds because that's who she brought out on stage for this 10,000 person rally. Apparently like 20,000 people turned out, yeah, for a free Megan Thee Stallion concert. Okay, you've got one of the blackest cities in the South. You've got, for whatever reason, one of the most popular rappers down there to endorse the political candidate that will pander to them the best. Because you take a look at the people that are in the crowd, not a lot of masculinity that's down there. There's something else that Atlanta is very high in per capita of, in regards being on the DL. If you know, you know, and if you don't worry about it. Let's just say Megan Thee Stallion is a little bit too masculine for their tastes. But she got up there on stage and she performed Savage at the Atlanta, Georgia rally. The song Megan Thee Stallion is performing discusses how any basketball American I let hit is still attached, but you know this kitty cat is fat. I'm a savage, yeah, classy, bougie, ratchet, yeah, sassy, moody, nasty, huh? Acting stupid, what's happening? That's great, actually. That song was sung on the request of Kamala Harris because that was one of her favorites back when she was smoking weed in college in between record changes between the latest Tupac and Biggie albums. Nothing about this campaign is authentic. They are going to try to lie, they're going to try to cheat, and they're definitely going to try to steal in November. Don't let it happen. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.